Alright, so for this trip, we are going to be going to the Hyde Park golf course, which is actually right next to the high school here. There are two courses you can play. Across the street here, this is what's called the North 18 course. There's 18 holes. Alright, and then behind the golf club, which is where we're going to go, is what's called the White 9. There's 9 holes there. There's an old course here that they call it the old course or the Red 9. I don't think that's open right now. For this video, we're going to go into the White 9. And we're going to come in. Here's the golf club. We're going to be coming in through here, over and down this path. You'll notice that there's a putting green right here that you can practice on. And we're going to go down this path to the first hole, which we'll find here. We're going to be going over a bunch of details of the course and the rules. So we're going to go from the first hole down to the second hole, which is over this way, to the third hole, this way, to the fourth hole, which will bring you down here, down a little ravine, to the fifth hole, and to the sixth hole, which will bring you up to here. The seventh hole will bring you over to here. The eighth hole will bring you down and around the corner here, and then finally end up at the ninth hole, the last hole on the course. When you do this entire course, if you're walking it, it's about 2 miles. If you're like me, you're probably gonna be walking more than 2 miles, because 2 miles is assuming you're walking in straight lines. So we're gonna get right to it. We're here at the Hyde Park golf course. We're gonna go to the White 9, which is behind the clubhouse over here. We'll come back when we're at the first hole. When you first come behind the clubhouse, there is a putting green if you wanted to practice before you come out. It's right here. And then the first hole for the White 9 is this way. Alright, we're here at the first hole on the White 9. You're gonna see there's a couple markers at each hole. There is no blue right now. They might be adding that later, but the markers for the white, this means it's 350 yards to the pin, and the red means it's 335 yards to the pin. Usually the males golf from the white and the females golf from the red. Alright, so we're gonna show you what we mean. The markers are actually on the course. Right here would be the white, these white markers. Right here. You would set your tee up in between the markers, heading towards the pin that way, which from here would be 350 yards. And then if we go forward, the red markers up here are 335 yards to the pin. And again, usually males golf from the white and the females golf from the red. But I guess you could do whichever one you want. Here are the red markers. Right here. And if you look up, I'm going to zoom in. You can see the pin from here. We're going to be heading that way. Alright, we're coming up on the green for the first hole on the White 9. If you look, there's a sand trap to the right, and there's also a sand trap to the left. Over here, you're going to want to try to avoid those. It's not fun hitting out of there. Couple of etiquette things. Never drive your cart over the putting surface or drag your clubs if you're pushing them. Try to stay away from that. As you can see, the pin location right now, they're doing what's called no-touch golf. So at the bottom of each pin, they got a little pool noodle so your ball doesn't go down there too far, and you're not supposed to remove the flags right now. All right, we're gonna go to the next hole. We're gonna have to wait a minute for these people to finish what they're doing. All right, now we are at the second hole on the White 9. You'll notice it says that for the white tee-off spot that it's 475 yards, which is correct. However, there is a new spot for the red tee off, which according to this sheet is 385 yards. All right, so we're gonna walk up to that and show you where that is. The white tee box is right here. And then up this way, you're gonna see the red tee box. And this is a par 5. The first hole was a par 4. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I'll put some info on the screen. But basically what par means is that's how many strokes you should be able to make it into the pin by. Now, if you get less than that, let's say if you get par, it's a 0. If you get -1 par, so let's say if it's a par 5 and you get it in 4 strokes, you're gonna get -1, which is called a birdie. If you do a par 5 and you hit it in 5 shots, then it's a par. If you're over 1 stroke, it's called a bogey. 2 strokes, double bogey. 3 strokes, triple bogey, and so forth. If you happen to get 2 strokes under par, it's called an eagle, which is -2. So remember, in golf, the lower your score is, the better. This is the red tee box. Again, usually from where the women hit. This is relatively new, which is why the sign at the beginning wasn't updated. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on the hole from here. I don't know if I can, it's kind of far. No, it's around these trees. It's around that corner there. So we'll walk it and show you when we get there. All right, so we're coming up to the pin on the second hole. Again, there's sand traps on the left and on the right. When you're coming up, it's quite a big green you got here. Again, do not drive your cart on the putting surface or drag your cart if you got a pull cart. It's a little golf etiquette. You almost want to aim for the back end of this because there's so much space behind. And if you drop it short, you might get yourself in trouble and not being able to putt it right away. From here, the next hole, hole 3, is over there, which is where we're going to be heading. All right, we're here at the third hole. It is a par 4/5. Usually the lower numbers for the men, so men's it would be a par 4, women it'd be a par 5. Again, the distance from the white tee box is 430 yards and the red tee box is 415. So let's check it out. We got the white tee box right here. And then just up this way, we're gonna head to the red tee box. It's a little bit to the left. All right, here is the red tee box. And if you'll notice, for a lot of these, right next to where they are, there's these mounds. And actually what they're planning on doing is putting the tee box on the mounds. This is a new project. Hopefully it'll be finished soon. But in the future, the red tee box, which is now flat, is going to be up on this mound. You'll notice that on a lot of these holes. They're doing a lot of work on the course here. All right, we're going to head up straight. We're going to talk about these sticks that are on the field, on the course. All right, you'll notice on the fairways, there'll be these sticks that are in the middle. What they are is they're markers that tell you the distance to the pin. So we have a blue stick, which is 200 yards to the pin, a white stick, which means 150 yards to the pin, and there in the distance is a red stick, which would mean you're 100 yards to the pin. All right, that'll help you choose what club you should be using. And if you look in the distance, you can see the pin from here. All right, this is the green on the third hole of the white 9. Again, there are sand traps on both sides. Where the pin is now, it's a little bit up on a hill and towards the back, but we're gonna talk about how they move the pin somehow. When we get to a good hole, we'll show you what we mean. So the pin locations will not always be in the same place. And remember, don't drive your carts on the putting surface or drag your carts. And if your ball lands and damages it, you could always repair it. You can see there's a couple marks here, but they're pretty good at keeping these greens up now. Here's the stick. Remember, do not touch the flagpoles right now because they're doing no touch golf. But in the future, if the rules change, I'm sure that won't be an issue. All right, now we are at the 4th hole. It says par 4/5. So the 4 is what par would be for the men. The 5 would be what par is for the women. And as you can see, the white tee box is 415 yards and the red tee box is 400. The white tee box is right here. And just like the last hole, you'll notice in the distance here, there is a mound. I'll zoom in on that. That is where the red tee box is going to be in the future. They're still working on that, making a lot of improvements. But right here, behind there, you can see the red tee box. We're gonna start heading that way, but there's a couple gentlemen golfing in front of us, so we're gonna wait. All right, we're coming up on the red tee box for the 4th hole. If you look straight ahead from here, here's the tee box. And if you look straight ahead, you can see those markers we were talking about on the last hole. There's a blue marker right there. So if you can make it to that blue marker, you're gonna be 200 yards from the pin. There's a white marker, which will mean you're 150 yards. And this hole kind of curves to the right behind these trees over here. All right, so we're gonna walk that way. All right, we're coming up here on the green for the 4th hole. If you look to the right, that's the clubhouse where we started, and actually the high school is right there. So you can see this golf course out some of the classroom windows. For this green, there is a sand trap to the right. That is the only one. If you look around, it's a pretty big putting surface. So if the pin is to the right here, you might want to aim a little bit to the left. Obviously try to aim for the center, but just a little tip. We're going to be coming up on a par 3. We're going to be going over a bridge down this path over here. All right, we're on the 5th hole. This is a par 3, so that means it's a shorter course, meaning par is 3, you only need 3 shots to get there to hit that, all right? The white box is 150 yards, and the red box, which is up over the bridge over here, I'll zoom in on that, is 83 yards, all right? So we're gonna go, here's the white tee box. You'd have to hit it over the water, right up there. We're gonna walk over there now. All right, we're coming up on the hole for hole 5. This one isn't that far. If anybody gets a hole-in-one, it's usually on this hole because it's only 175 yards. There's a sand trap on the right. There's also a road, so if you hit it too far, you got to be careful. There's another sand trap on the left. And when you come up, right now the tee or the pin location is pretty much in the center. All right, and from this hole, we're gonna go over to the 6th hole, which is right over here. All right, we're coming up on hole 6 from the white 9. This is a par 4. From the white tee box, it's gonna be 345 yards, and from the red tee box, it's 310. The red tee box is right over here. And if you look to the left of it, they're actually building another mound, which is where the tee box will be in the future. All right, a couple of things to note about this course. It dips down into a gully, all right? So if we're looking ahead from the white tee box, you wanna make sure there's no one golfing over here, all right? Because you're not gonna be able to see them, so either pay attention while you're golfing, make sure there's no one in front, or if you're concerned, have someone run ahead and look over the gully. We're gonna stop at the gully to show you what we're talking about once we zoom forward. All right, right here, you'll see the gully we were talking about. It dips down quite a ways, so once you're down here, you're not gonna be able to see the tee box anymore, which means the people at the tee box are not gonna be able to see you. All right, from here, we're gonna go to the pin, which is over the water there. All right, so that's where we're gonna be aiming, and we're gonna have to walk across this bridge to get there. All right, we're coming up on the hole, or the pin for hole 6. Normally, you're gonna come over to the bridge, it's gonna be here, but you normally, hopefully, be hitting it from the water over here. And then if you're hitting it from there, you're gonna see again, there's 2 sand traps. Actually, I think there might be 4. There's one on this side, there's one on this side, then there's one in the back over there. And let's go see if there's one over here. Nope, there's just 3. So again, you're gonna be hitting it from over there. It's gonna be coming down here. You'll notice that this green kind of tilts back. So if you're hitting it and you hit it too hard, it's not gonna go on you too far. But also you could be putting it uphill. But if you're on the other side of the pin, you'd be putting it downhill, so you might wanna hit it a little bit slower. From here, we're gonna go to the 7th hole, which is straight ahead. All right, we are at the 7th hole here. So the white tee box is 330 yards. The red tee box is 305 from here. This is the white tee box. Thing to note about this hole is there's a water hazard right in the middle, which we're gonna go up to this red tee box and show you. All right, this is the red tee box, and the water hazard, you can see it a little bit better from here. So a couple things to note about the water and stroke penalties. If you hit the ball in the water, first of all, you're gonna have to put the ball down on this side. So if you're hitting it from here, you're gonna put it in from the side you hit, in line of where you think it was going in. All right, the second thing is, it's a 2-stroke penalty. So if you hit it in the water, your next hit is gonna be your 3rd shot. So if you're trying to get par right now and you hit it in the water, you're gonna be starting with your 3rd shot. So it's a 2-stroke penalty, all right? And from here, the hole is straight ahead that way, and there is a bridge to the left that we're gonna head to. All right, we are coming up on the pin for the 7th hole. Again, sand traps. There's 3 of them. 1 to the left, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. And on the back side, I actually did this the other day. If you hit it past this, you're more than likely gonna end up in the water, all right? Because it's a steep hill that goes down the back side. So you're gonna you might even wanna lay it up short here so that you make sure that you don't go past it or end up in the sand. So right now, the pin location is a little bit to the left. I'm gonna show you the back side of this so you can see what I'm talking about as far as how steep it goes down. If your ball goes past this, you could be in trouble. It might end up in the water or in the brush over there. From here, the 8th hole is gonna be to your left, and we're gonna head over there now. All right, we are on the 8th hole of the white 9. This is a par 4. From the white tee box, it's gonna be 360 yards, and from the red tee box, it's gonna be 315. The white tee box is right here, and this hole kind of wraps to the right, so it's gonna go end up over that way. All right, and you can see the red tee box right here, and there's another mound there where it looks like they're gonna be moving the tee box so it's elevated. All right, we're at the red tee box, and as you can see to the left here, there's another mound where they're gonna be moving the red tee box. One thing we wanted to mention is that similar to how if you hit it in the water, it's a stroke penalty, here there's a lot of woods to the left. So if you hit into there, it's the same thing. If you happen to find your ball, it's still a stroke. So think of it like this. Your first hit would be hitting it into the woods. If you find your ball and you can't hit it out of there, you can bring it out and drop it, which would be your 2nd hit. So the next time you hit the ball again would be your 3rd hit. That's just how stroke penalties work. This course kind of bends around to the right. You can see the blue marker there, which means that it's 200 yards to the pin. Then the white marker, which means it's 150. And I don't see the red marker. There's like a little gully up there that we're gonna have to get to. All right, we're coming up on the pin for the 8th hole. And a little
thing we wanted to show you right here is that you can kind of see, there's a good spot where you can see the line in the grass here. Where the grass is really short here in the middle, it's called the fairway. And as you come off to the side where the grass is a little bit longer, it's the rough. And depending on how deep it is, it's gonna be harder to hit your ball. You're not gonna be able to get as much club on it if there's a lot of grass. Right here, it's not too bad, but there are some spots where the rough's really bad. And another example of that is in the sand. Your ball, you're not gonna be able to hit as much of it because it gets buried in the sand. All right, so you always wanna try to land somewhere where the grass is shorter, which is called the fairway, typically in the middle. All right, so we're gonna come up to the putting area. This is the 8th tee, or not the 8th tee, the 8th pin. There's a sand trap on both sides. You'll usually find that at most golf courses. There's usually some sort of hazard that is around. And then we'll notice that the pin right now is kind of towards the back end and in the middle, but they don't always stay in the same places. So if you look right here, this is a spot, they can actually pull this out and then the pin would be more on the front of the putting area. All right, so they don't usually keep them in the same places. For example, if you were playing at a tournament and you were playing on it was a couple day tournament, the next day the pins usually wouldn't be in the same place. They usually move them around on you to change it up. All right, so the next hole we're coming up to is the 9th hole. This is the last hole. It's a par 3. So we're gonna show you this. All right, so this is the 9th hole. It's the last hole on the white 9. They call it the white 9 because there are 9 holes. Actually across the street, they have what's called the North 18, which we might come and see another day. But for this hole, it's the last hole. The white tee box is 165 yards to the pin, and the red tee box is 150. They're kind of right next to each other. They're usually, the white tee box is back a little bit farther. I'm not sure why they're here right now. But for this course, or for this hole I should say, there's a water hazard in the middle. You can see the bridge, and it's not that far. We'll talk a little bit about clubs in a little bit. Usually when you're coming from the tee box, you're hitting a driver, but on something like this, you're gonna wanna hit something with not as much power so you don't go over. They're called irons. So from here, we're gonna go over the bridge and we'll show you the last hole. All right, we are coming up to the pin for the 9th and final hole on the white 9. There are a couple sand traps, hazards on each side. And this hole, again, similar to one earlier, it kind of drops off. So if you go too far, it's gonna roll off pretty quick. So you might wanna lay up short. It's a pretty big putting surface. And this is the last hole. A couple things we wanted to point out. Number one, if you walked this whole course, we mapped it out and it would be right around 2 miles. Now that is assuming that you're walking straight, which most golfers are not. If you're like me, you're going left and then you're going right, you're zigzagging through the course. So it's probably more like 2.5, 3 miles walking the whole thing. But either way, you're out in the city. It's a beautiful course, especially if you go on a nice day like today where the weather's nice and you're getting your exercise in. All right.